right, guys, welcome back. The last time you were here, we were working on getting our fence up. That is the first step you need to do on physical construction site. I'm not talking about plans. I'm talking about the first thing you gotta do is put the fence up. In the fence phase, we need to get an L2 waiver. Usually we just apply for permits. The contractor puts his tracking number and ID with insurance, and that's enough. Here, we got rejected. We got the L2. They came out. I explained to you that we put the fence out. We did the footings, the maximize of the footprint. We had our surveyor do a stakeout because we have an easement in the lot. We need to know exactly where the fence goes. Number one. Number two, we have to paint it by code. We have to have windows on the site and permits. I want to take you to the permits so that we go all in. We also have a rolling gate, which is what's going to allow us to get all of our stuff in. You got to have your fence permit, and then you got to have your entry door, okay? You got to have your permit. Now, this is a good introduction to what we're doing today. There are two phases to move forward. In order to get my finalized plan, there are some contingencies that I need to do as a developer to get them finalized. For example, my structural engineer requested from me the boring and the geotech reports. So the boring is they're going down to see how deep the neighbor's footings are. We did that. They identified the location. Great. Now the geotech investigation is to check the type of soil and if there is bedrock and if there's a water table. That is the boring and geotech process. By the way, we're located in the Bronx where it's heavily saturated bedrock, and that's not good. Heavily saturated bedrock is not good because you have these enormous boulders that you gotta sometimes drill them and in some rare instances blow them up with dynamite. That can get very costly. And almost in every instance, it's an unknown variable unless you go into contract and the seller allows you to do a due diligence phase. You shell out about 10 or 15,000 to do what we're doing to investigate the soil. Most people are not doing that, especially in the Bronx. No, break that shit. Break it. Break everything.
Okay.
I don't want you going around this. Break that shit.
Okay.
Right? Okay. Right, now I'm gonna tell you in what instances bedrock is good, and I'm gonna tell you what instance bedrock is bad. Now, what you don't want to happen is you don't want to have bedrock at 2 feet of your foundation line. Because now, as you're digging, you're hitting rock, and in order to get your footings in, you need to dig about 6, 7, sometimes 8 feet if you don't have a cellar, if it's just a foundation. Now, instead of digging dirt and planting my piles and planting my footings, I'm still hitting bedrock and excavating. That's not good. It's good to have it. For example, in this instance, the investigation in one section concludes that this bedrock was identified at 17 feet, which is beautiful. First of all, you want to have some bedrock because if the soil is too mushy, you're going to need piles and you're going to need sometimes tangent piles as well as footings. So you need to have some bedrock so the foundation can sit on. But having it too early is just creating an extra layer of getting that bedrock on to get to that second layer of good bedrock. A cool fact that you should know is in order to do them, we outline them every 2,500 square feet of the building footprint. The building is less than 5,000 square foot on the footprint. Therefore, 2 of the geotech investigation reports are necessary and required by code. As the soil here gets very good at about 4 feet, where there's no landfill, no waste. How do we know it's good? You have something called mica, is that you could tell that it's very dense, which is from the parent bedrock that was chiseled down, and that's what that shiny glittery stuff is. Don't quote me on it, but I think that's what glitter is made from. It's strong, and that's the type of soil we need. This type of soil starts to run up at about 4 feet. That's very good. We want dense and hard soil. That is the key to having a strong foundation. Right now I'm going to talk to you about the cost. Listen, you can get these boring and geotechnical reports as cheap as $3,500. Now here's the thing. It depends on how many pit locations you do, and it depends on how many geotechnical locations you do. We spent $10,000. There's 3 reasons why we did that. We did 3 test pit locations. As advised, my structural engineer physically came here. I didn't show him a survey. I don't like doing it that way because when they come on site, they start thinking of different things. Number 1. Number 2, as I mentioned before, for every 2,500 square feet of the building footprint, you need to do a geotechnical report. And we're just under 5,000 square feet. So 2 locations were enough. Also, it was advised by my engineer where to do so. The soil reports are very important, and you're gonna be sending them to laboratories. I didn't go with the $3,500 guys because once upon a time I did. And the report said that there's water about 30 feet deep, and as I'm digging, about 10 feet in, water was spilling up. So the cheapest guy is sometimes not the best guy. Actually, most times not the best guy. Usually, the most expensive guy is the best guy. And I'm talking about price because I'm trying to tell all my guys, developers, fix and flippers, contractors, even if you're just a student, don't always save the dollar. It's not about the dollar. As long as the guy knows what he's doing and he can provide value, cross-coordinate that with references, right? You talk to people, make sure that he's good. And if you don't know, ask me, send me a DM. Slogan is, don't be penny wise, dollar foolish. Opposite, be dollar wise and penny foolish. So I spent a little bit more here, but I know that I got the most premium service. We have so much content coming up on this site and others. Tune in, subscribe, and share it with your friends so that we can keep getting this educational content out. Stay tuned.